What's up, guys? Dan with Warpaint JKU. So in this episode, it's been long enough. I think I'm finally going to do a review. The hood vent. Let's check it out. Now, I don't know how many of you guys are like me, but when you look around for something, especially a review on YouTube, kind of frustrating when someone installs a new part and then instantly has to do a review, right? I mean, they have no idea how well the part works. They've never even tried it out, right? So there's some knowledge to be gained from some of those review videos as far as the install and things like that, but I always like to wait a little while before I do a review video so I can truly give you all the details, the pros, the cons, everything that goes along with it. But without further ado, let's hop on in. Let me show you the hood vent that I chose to use and why I chose to use that particular hood vent. Alright, so the hood vent that I chose to use is going to be one made by Poison Spyder. Now, it is the only thing that Poison Spyder makes that I have on my rig. There are a couple of different brands. The Poison Spyder one is a little bit more expensive than some of the others, but there's a reason for that, okay? The powder coating didn't last all that well, or all that long, I should say, in the Texas sun. Might last longer in other environments. Now, it hasn't rusted, but it's definitely faded a little bit, okay? But the directions that came with the kit and the step-by-step detail that they had included was bar none better than some of the others. A lot of the others don't even include directions, so I mean that's something that you may want to do, is spend a little bit more money to have a little bit more of a quality product. But let's take a closer look at it and we'll check it out. Now, one of the other things talking about quality products that I really liked was the fact that the hardware that came with it was a high quality, high grade stainless steel hardware. It wasn't just zinc coated to reduce rust and corrosion. It's actually stainless steel. So it's definitely not going to have any corrosion on there. Now, I know that this black looks pretty good, but it basically was the color of these when I first got it, and you can see here that it's already faded quite a bit. But the fitment on the hood was perfect. The stencil that they give you to lay out on the hood was really nice. It basically detailed where to drill your holes, where to cut, how deep to cut, things like that, so that you don't damage the structure under the hood. But let's pop that hood, take a look at it from the bottom. Alright, so excuse the mess under here, but as you can see, toward the front of the hood, toward the front of your engine compartment, you have a couple of spots to let some heat out. You obviously have some in the center there too, as well as closer to the back. Now, hood vents are really awesome. They look kind of cool, right? That's personal preference. They do add some rigidity to the steel on top of your hood. But the other big benefit is in these newer JKs, right, in 2013 and up, after they went to the 3.6, these engines run hot. If you have the display in your dash that actually gives you an actual temperature, not just the gauge, you'll notice that it's centered on that gauge everywhere up to 230 degrees. If you know anything about engines, heat is the enemy of an engine. But they designed these Pentastar 3.6 liters to run hot so that they would have better emissions. Now, while this hood vent does not, it does not do anything to make your engine run any cooler, but what it does do is allow the heat from that engine, that obviously heat rises, that gets trapped under the hood, to evacuate and leave the engine compartment, which will save your wiring, your insulation, and things like that from decaying and breaking down faster than they should. All right, so I installed it to just get rid of heat. Now, heat in your engine is going to be controlled by your radiator, your fan, your thermostat, things like that. And honestly, without actually using a tuner to readjust when your fan turns on, you're not going to get your engine to run any cooler on these 3.6s. I have vented inner fenders, I have a hood vent, I even put a lower thermostat in it. And while the lower thermostat does allow it to take a, it basically it makes it take a little bit longer to get up to that operating temperature of about 220, 230 degrees. Anywhere in that range is basically centered on that temperature gauge. It doesn't actually have it run any cooler. As soon as it gets up to temperature, it stays there. It takes a little longer to get there, but as soon as it's there, it stays there. But anyway, guys, the Poison Spyder hood vent, it's installed in the hood. The holes were very easy to cut with a grinder and using a drill to start in the corners. It was super simple to do. The only tip that I have is to definitely spend the money. Make sure you have the stencil. Make sure you have the directions. Take your time, okay? It's not a race. Lay something down under your hood so when you're cutting and you're throwing sparks, you're not dropping all that into your engine compartment. Definitely paint the steel after you cut it, right? You're gonna be cutting through it and you're gonna have an exposed raw steel that's no longer painted on the edges of all those cuts. And you definitely don't want it to rust, right? But that's my review. I feel a lot more comfortable with the heat evaporating out or leaving the engine compartment. And to be honest with you, even when I'm out on the trail sitting or I'm stopped at a red light or at a stop sign, I can actually see the heat waves coming out from my hood. So it's definitely letting that heat out. I would absolutely put one on another Jeep if I bought another Jeep at some point. But again, as far as getting that 3.6 to run any cooler, it does not do that. I'll link to this in the description. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel. We're going to have a lot more builds coming up in the future, including giveaways. And that's it, guys. Thanks again for your support.